Extreme Anime Radio.
And here we are. May all your acquaintances be forgotten. And no, that's not how it goes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final XAR podcast of 2022. It is Wednesday, December 29th. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. We're back. May all your acquaintances be forgotten. I'm JR, and he is Nef and JR.
Good evening, sir. Apparently all your dates can be forgotten. That's your problem right now.
No, the most important thing for me tonight is the reason I have the background behind me, Sonic the Hedgehog. Why? Because on the 5th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 5 gold rings. Gold rings,
Explain.
Sonic gold rings. No?
Yes, but ow. Very much ow.
Sadly, I couldn't find a graphic that matched behind me with 5 rings on it. So,
Well, aside from that one particular logo, which you cannot use for anything,
oh yes, the one that has 3 rings over 2 rings.
Yeah.
Wow, Liz says, well, thank you very much, Liz. But this is the final podcast of the year, and what a year it has been, Neff.
You could say that. I don't know if you saw the news that I did just before we started broadcasting tonight. 2022 has unfortunately seen the passing of another legend in the world of sports. That would be the Brazilian soccer star Pelé.
Yes, that came out this afternoon.
Passed away at the age of 82 after a battle with cancer. His impact on the world of football, or soccer as we know it in North America, cannot be understated.
Right.
Including his ability to bring the beautiful game to the rest of the world.
The only guy to win 3 World Cups.
And likely, probably the only one, being realistic.
Right. You have a lot of people paying tribute to Pelé since his passing was announced today. And one of the best quotes, I don't have it in front of me, but Mbappe, the French player, very young, has got a bright soccer future ahead of him. He paid his respects as well with a picture he took with Pelé, in recent years.
Yes, it's amazing, though, to think that all of these young stars now owe their very, love of the game, in many cases, to someone like Pelé, who grew up with nothing, and through his skill was able to, rise up and essentially conquer the world of football.
Oh, yeah. So our hats off to a legend. And without question, you can rank him among the GOATs, the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time.
When it comes to football, I would definitely say if he's not number 1, I'd ask you who is.
Right. It'd be hard to top him for sure. And I'll miss him, in his appearances on TV. I mean, you've seen him growing up over the years, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, and I mean, again, he was always generous with his time and very much, willing to be an ambassador for the sport.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of former athletes, they don't do that as much. That when they've made their money, they just basically generally glide into the sunset, never to be heard from again.
Mm-hmm.
There are some notable exceptions, however, but Pelé is one of those who is the notable exception to say, okay, I'm going to spread my love of the game, upon the world, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. So we pay tribute to him as we move on with our show tonight. I've been busy with a lot of things. Nihongo hanashimashou. Let's speak Japanese. I've been learning some more Japanese and getting ready for the trip soon. For the month of January, Nef, I think our shows are going to be sort of curtailed between trip arrangements, and definitely I think Mondays are going to be out for the month of January. A couple of Mondays is going to be the National Football Championship for college football, which is something I always watch. That is the television sports broadcast of the year. That's kind of like the big game in sports broadcasting, because you have so many signals being broadcast on so many channels. Kind of like how the Christmas Story is looped on 3 networks on Christmas Day.
Well, the problem is it's your real life job, I think, that sort of intrigues you to say, okay, there are this many signals. How can we keep them all, in the air without something going splat?
Yeah.
And I mean, that is a skill in and of itself, which, I will probably never, ever even grasp in the slightest.
Yeah.
So it's like, for you, it's like, ooh, somebody else is, juggling chainsaws, and I get to watch.
I've seen all these different broadcasts over the years and all the different settings, and I'll give you 2 of my favorites, which they've never brought back. There was one year where they actually had a feed inside the replay booth, so you're hanging with the replay official talking about stuff, and they're going over every play, and you see him make 1 or 2 big calls in the game, but they've never continued that. And then there was one year where the 2 ESPN anchors were inside the Goodyear blimp.
Okay, I don't recall that one, mainly because I would have probably either A, not been given access to it, or B, saw that and gone, why would I watch 2 guys calling a game from a blimp? I mean, it sounds like the Peyton broadcast, but with a lot more hot air. Literally and figuratively.
Yeah. So I forget, let's see, this year it's going to be in Los Angeles, I think. SoFi Stadium's going to do the college championship, and the stadium where the Cardinals play is going to host the big game.
Yes, well, the question is who will get to the big game, and it's funny you should mention Monday night, because this Monday night
exactly.
upcoming, there will be a very important National Football League game that I will be glued to the set to. Anybody who tries to disturb me will be given the "no, you will not disturb me" routine.
So that being the Bills and I think the Bengals, the 2 of the hottest teams right now?
Yes, the problem is I think that, Bills fans and Bengals fans are united in one thing. Our hatred of the Cleveland Browns, especially since they, chose the quarterback they did, double the hatred.
Right.
But now it's like, okay, now we have to go head to head for something very, very important, that being the number 1 seed in the AFC, because the number 1 seed gets a week off.
Right.
Which right now the Bills, as they sit, could really, really use, because they are banged up, beaten, and it's like, yikes, yikes, yikes.
Wow. So there's none of the Sunday games will have any bearing on that, will it?
Not on that game in particular, unless the Chiefs, lose to their opponents. So I can't even remember who they are this week. It's like, all I know is I looked at the schedule the last couple of weeks now. I'm going, the Chiefs are going to win out unless, Patrick Mahomes suffers a massive, cranial cramp and just does something really dumb.
Or take something out of Tua's playbook. How about that? Him going into protocol for concussions for the umpteenth time this year?
That will be the third time officially. The problem was he did get smacked during that Christmas Day game and should never have been brought back. But I think, once again, the concussion spotters for the NFL and the Miami Dolphins failed him miserably.
Ugh.
I'm of the opinion that Tua's brains are one hit away from becoming scrambled eggs. And I am sorry, but no, like, dude, at this point, walk away. It's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're getting hit so hard. And it's like, I mean, he's a decent guy off the field. I have no problem with him. But I'm just going, no. You're taking too much punishment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the gentleman in New York whose name escapes me right now, Mike White, I think it is, who basically got folded like origami by the Bills' defense at least once. And it's like, yeah, that's not healthy.
No.
That's not healthy for a quarterback or any human being for that matter.
Yeah. So 2 more weeks. Is it 2 more weeks of the regular season?
That's correct. 2 more weeks and then the playoffs. Now in the fantasy football pool I am in right now, I am in what is known as the Screech Bowl. I won't go into the details behind it, but should I lose the Screech Bowl, I'll be forced to wear the most degrading shirt possible and taking photographs and sending photographic evidence of same to the other participants in said pool.
Is that something you want to wear on the podcast or no?
Well, it's not naughty in any way, shape, or form. It's just more like, sure, if the certain person whose face is going to be on this shirt sees it, well, actually, you know what? Let's do it. Because that particular person and I have a history.
Oh.
Now, bearing in mind, of course, he's actually banned now from most social media platforms that most normal, sane human beings use.
Mm-hmm.
So he might never see it.
Well, there'll be something to look forward to, and one reason where you could possibly tune into us in the new year. How about that?
Well, the big problem for me is now, since I'm in the Screech Bowl, I did promise if I ended up there, I would be drinking a certain adult beverage during the Sunday games. And I have a 6-pack of said beverage.
Oh.
And by the end of the 4th beverage, I will be in no condition to do much of anything, because not only will I be suitably soused, my taste buds will be dead, buried, and last rites given.
You could also look forward to in 2023, Nef?
What is that, sir?
Vash the Stampede.
That's right. Now, the question is, much like other classic anime they've gotten a remake, how do they do it? Do they do a by-the-numbers remake? Do they tweak things a bit?
Right.
Or do they go off in an entirely new direction?
No.
We shall see.
The one we're talking about is, of course, Trigun. I think it's called Trigun Stampede.
I believe that's the official name, yes.
Right. And so it's going to be coming out in a few weeks, and it is the remake of the anime that's, I want to say, over 20, 30 years old, 1998, so 25 years?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Almost.
Kind of frightening.
What were you doing in 1998? I think I was a sophomore in high school.
Working by then.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, at my present place of employment, just a different position. Which tells you how long I've been around that place of employment. Yikes.
Sonic, welcome to the chat. Live action? No, I think this is an anime. This is going to be reanimated, I guess. And the studio is Orange. They're known for their special effects being used in the anime. So, I remember trying out Trigun when I was young. It didn't stick, but this looks pretty curious.
Well, I mean, I think I've seen about half of Trigun before I petered out, so we'll see how this new, version goes. I mean, again, the problem is something that was popular 25, 30 years ago was definitely done to different standards than they are today.
Right.
So it'll be a question of whether or not the show gets tweaked to reflect that fact, or if they simply, say, you know what, we'll just do the same things we did 30 years ago. We'll just, update things a little bit.
I'm going to sound so ridiculous. Look at Cowboy Bebop.
Now, to be fair, that was a live action,
Mm-hmm.
and it was Netflix.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I'll just mini rant here. There was, for example, live action of Komi Can't Communicate in Japan that apparently was pretty well done.
Mm.
If Netflix got a hold of it, I would be very, very afraid.
They mangle it a bit.
They would mangle it in ways that, frighten me and would cause me to, have my hair stand on end if I had any.
We do have a fan of Cowboy Bebop. Sonic liked it. I was sort of a fan of it too, but the fact that they kind of left things hanging, like I've seen some other anime, without renewing the series, that's what kind of really killed it for me.
Well, the problem is that I think that's a plague now on all modern anime, to be honest. I mean, it's very rare, unless it's one of the big, say, 5 or 6,
Mm-hmm.
that they will continue to animate more.
Right.
Normally what will happen is you'll get a season,
Mm-hmm.
which might only be 12 episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and then nothing. And then a few years later, you might get something else. You might get a movie.
Mm-hmm.
You might get another 12 episodes.
Yeah.
And then nothing.
Mm.
So I think the business model for anime is much different than it was 30 years ago, where you just basically kept cranking it out until you got canceled.
Mm-hmm. A long-running
Sailor Moon.
a long-running anime that I've sort of teetered off of myself, and we're talking about how many episodes, Sword Art Online and its derivatives.
Mm.
There's news coming out of Japan that a very popular retailer in Tokyo is giving Asuna a wedding dress. A custom wedding dress for Asuna. And it will be on display in Tokyo for the next few months.
Aha! Interesting. Now, I'll say this again. Sword Art Online was one of those shows where it's like, I liked it initially,
Mm-hmm.
and then it went places where I was like, yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But so I don't think that wedding dress is for sale, but apparently tied into it, they're selling acrylic charms for about $4 or $5 each.
$4 or $5 for a little trinket, that's not too bad at all.
So that's some of the news that I've been reading about. We have a sumo tournament coming up, which Bree and I are going to be going to a sumo tournament. We have tickets, so cross that off the list. Really excited to do that. It's going to be weird, though, because we don't have a lot of top-ranked wrestlers this time. So
Any particular reason why?
because the good wrestlers keep doing poorly. We have Teruno Fuji, the Yokozuna. He sat out the last tournament after having knee surgery. They think he'll be back for the tournament next month, but that's not 100%. And then we had the rank below that is Ozeki, and right now we only have one Ozeki, Takakeisho. One former Ozeki just got demoted, and an Ozeki in the previous tournament that had been demoted didn't get enough wins to go back up to Ozeki. So one Yokozuna, one Ozeki. So the last time there were two wrestlers ranked at the top of the sumo ladder, or the rankings, if you will, was, I think, 1993. You had two American sumo wrestlers, Akebono and Konishiki from Hawaii and American Samoa, respectively. But you have to go back 125 years to find the last sumo tournament with one yokozuna and one ozeki.
Interesting. Now, I mean, of course, it's a matter of what matches you win, etc. But I'm like, is this maybe a sign that sumo itself is kind of struggling? Because if you aren't getting wrestlers who can win consistently and get those higher ranks, that's not a good sign for the sport, is it?
Well, there are a couple of wrestlers who are doing well, and they're viewed to be leading candidates. Taka Keisho, the lone ozeki, he's done pretty good. He was actually runner-up in the last tournament. So there is speculation that perhaps if he does well this tournament and possibly the following tournament where he either can win the championship or be a runner-up or be in contention, that would be enough to give him promotion to Yokozuna. There's some criteria that are sort of de facto to be promoted to Yokozuna. You have to have the dignity, grace, and there are a few factors. I have to look it up for you one day. But right now, Taka Keisho, I think, would be the leading contender. And then you have some wrestlers at Sekiwake, which is the rank below Ozeki. You have 4 wrestlers at Sekiwake and then 4 wrestlers in the rank below that, and that's because there are so few wrestlers at the top. So 2 of the Sekiwake, who are probably going to be gunning for promotion next, Hoshoryu, who is the nephew of a former Yokozuna. He's also Mongolian. And one that I like to call Waka Waka. Sound kind of like Fozzie Bear. His name is Wakatakakage. Say that 5 times fast.
Wakatakakage, 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 Wakatakakage.
Oh, gee. You had to do it 6 times, huh?
Just to prove I could.
But
that I can't count.
But if you think sumo might be declining in popularity, well, there are still a lot of people visiting the sumo tournaments, especially in the last few tournaments after restrictions have been relaxed. And they just announced a few days ago, rigged, it says, they just announced a few days ago that they're going to still require people to wear masks inside the arena, but they're going to allow spectators to cheer again, which is something they haven't been able to do since the onset of COVID. Because it was a rowdy atmosphere. If you've seen some of these sumo replays, everybody cheering loudly for their favorite wrestler. That went away at the onset of COVID, and now they're going to bring that back again. So as long as you're wearing a mask, you can go back to cheering.
That should be interesting.
And so if, of course, if you remove your mask when you're drinking or eating, they don't want you to make any noise.
Okay, well, that sounds odd, but
yeah,
again, it's their rules, so we'll see how that works out for them.
Right. And in travel news, you probably have heard the news about China, Nef.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that news again, and of course, the people here are all, up in arms again, and it's just like, second verse, same as the first? Ay, 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 ay.
And now there's a big debate between countries about testing requirements if you're coming from China, and before or after you arrive. So my understanding, as the day we're recording this right now, the United States is going to require a COVID test if you come from China. And Japan is going to require a COVID test after you arrive from China. And I don't think Canada is going to implement any regulations.
At this point, there is no appetite for it unless I think, there's a proven, okay, yeah, there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And by a problem, I would suspect it would take a strain that, none of the vaccines that we've already had could do anything with, or do so little with that it's like, yeah, no,
Right.
we don't need that.
Right. And one of the other things that they're going to step up for people arriving on various international flights, they're going to do random COVID testing, which is voluntary, but they're hoping that these random tests, they can sequence the genomes if it's positive to see if they can identify another strain to take action before, things get worse.
Yeah, because the last thing we want is things to get out of hand. Again.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Nef, how was your Christmas? How was your holiday? What did you do?
Well, most of the holiday has been spent, watching the World Juniors, IIHF men's hockey. Christmas Day, of course, was spent with the family, and finding out that my brother's girlfriend drives like she's driving in GTA 5.
Oh.
Yeah, they offered me a lift home, which I took because I had some adult beverages. And let's just say this person cut off a city bus to the point where if I hadn't been having some adult beverages, I might have made some very unpleasant noises.
Ooh.
As it was, I just sort of looked in the rearview mirror and went, as we, sped along our merry way.
Well, I enjoyed my Christmas. Technically, it is still the holidays, if you think about it. Us Catholics, we celebrate the 12 days of Christmas. Today is also, I think, the 4th day of Kwanzaa. So it's still the holidays. We still have reason to celebrate. But my Christmas was okay. Watched a lot of Christmas movies. Watched A Christmas Story. I did not watch the marathon version. I just watched the one on my own pace. I did not watch the sequel, which brought back many of the original characters from A Christmas Story. People been daring me to watch that.
Yeah. From what I know, it's like, no, you don't want to. It's like, I watched the Charlie Brown Christmas special from 1965.
Oh, there you go.
There's a newer version. I will not watch that one because that's not the one I grew up with. Thank you very much.
There's a newer version, huh?
There is a newer version, apparently, yes. Housed on the same platform that now houses the original from 1965.
Apple TV.
Exactly. And it's sort of weird because if you watch the original and you hear its message and you realize that to watch it, now you have to pay. And it's that whole anti-consumerism, spiritual message that somehow now falls flatter now that it's on Apple TV.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can watch it now.
Yeah. And, the same thing. One of my favorite Christmas shows. That was the last, I've mentioned this before, this is the last claymation one made by Rankin Bass in Japan. The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, which was based off of a book by L. Frank Baum, who I think wrote The Wizard of Oz, right?
That is correct, sir.
So for that, you have to have a subscription, but it's kind of hard to access it when you're on Apple TV. You actually have to, you're not able to search anything in the app. You actually have to go through a few of the shows that you don't want to see, and then, when you get that, you get these recommendations. Oh, here it is right here. Click.
Now, I'm going to ask, have you tried using the voice function on the Apple TV to see if you can get it that way?
Yes, and it points out that in that regard, it takes me to AMC Plus, which is the subscription service. So if you don't have AMC through your cable provider, like I do, then you sign up for AMC Plus. I did the voice thing, and that's the only way I could access it through Apple TV that way. So I'm like, no.
Voice assistants.
Yeah.
When they don't work, it's annoying.
Yes. I gotta love how many times this goes off my Siri or my Alexa whenever we do a show sometimes.
Yeah, I have to remember to either, not say the magic word in my house and or just, mute the microphone to the little device I have off to my right. I had to think about it because I'm like, I'm seeing myself, I'm backwards. Yeah, it's the right. Yeah, okay.
Really quickly, before we go on, we have some taste testing tonight, folks. And then after that, we're going to do a little bit of Mario Kart. Not GTA 5, Nef.
Thank you.
Although sometimes we may drive like GTA 5. I'm not going to deny that.
Well, at least with Mario Kart, you don't have, pieces of your cart flying everywhere and, summarily the cart exploding when you, damage it too far, which actually would make Mario Kart quite interesting, I think.
So it's very interesting. We got to see how we can put everything together tonight. But Nef, real quick, what do you have as far as manga that you're catching up on these days?
Well, let's see. The newest volumes of a couple series I'm following came out. Uzeki-chan Wants to Hang Out, which of course is quite, the fun little ride now that the titular character and the male MC have decided, oh yeah, we like each other enough to say, boyfriend, girlfriend. It gets rather bizarre. Speaking of bizarre and girlfriend, volume 11. Just when you think the shenanigans can't get any worse, they do.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Now he's not trying to please 2 girls. It's 3 girls, and a 4th is trying desperately to shove her way in, and it's getting scary as to how desperate she's getting, and he's actually starting to, respond, and I'm going, dude, 4? No.
That'll turn to an anime one day.
Oh, it has been an anime. There has been an anime.
Okay.
Yeah, that got 1 season, and that stopped just before the 3rd girl sort of said, "Hey, wait a minute, I want in on this too." So if they do another season, then my presumption would be the 3rd girl, would be getting into it, and it's like, good God, then the 4th, and
man.
Yeah. And then a couple of others, and then I've been trying to catch up on anime, but again, World Junior Hockey Championships, I watched that, including today. Canada is in the process, as we speak, of, putting Austria into the ground, putting up the tombstone and going, nice to see you, go away. And then, of course, Switzerland and the U.S. met. That went about as well as I expected it to. Switzerland already has 2 overtime wins, but they meet the Americans, and it's like, no. Bulldozer, red, white, and blue turns, the Swiss kids black and blue.
Oh, man. What was the final score for that?
5-1 for the Americans.
Oh, gee.
Yeah. And frankly, that score kind of flattered the Swiss because they kept them close for a while until the Americans, said, you know what? No, you're not getting overtime with us, pal. And wham.
Well, those are going to be wrapping up, I think, in a few weeks. So we're looking forward to the result of that.
Yeah, that should be done, I want to say, by around the 8th of January, I think.
Okay.
So it'll start getting fast and furious because right now is the round robin tournament where the seeding is decided. Austria, of course, will now be in a playoff to determine who gets relegated. It's a question of who they're going to be facing off against to stay up versus, getting punted and said, come back when you actually have some talent.
We have some boxes here, Nef, that we haven't opened up quite a while in the air, and we're just going to take turns. I actually have 2 boxes. I'm going to show you real quick. We have the SakuraCo box that I get once a month, and something that I got from my sister for Christmas, which is, I don't know if you want to call it a little bit of a knockoff, but it's the Sakura box. The difference is that the Sakura box, if I open it up, I don't know how well this is going to come out on the air, but it's a collection of, no, it's not, if maybe I hold it up here. No, you can't see it very well unless I turn off the background. But it's a collection of dagashi, or cheap Japanese candy. And we're talking cheap, maybe about 100 yen each, or a little more or less than that.
So you're saying you literally are living the meme of, hey, mommy, I want X. And mommy says, no, we have X at home.
Yeah.
But then, you get home and it's X minus.
So we have my favorite, which I'm not going to try because I don't have it water with me or something to pour it in. Beer candy.
I've heard of trying to entice the next generation, but that's kind of crossing a line.
So the way it works, I don't know if you can read this, Nef. You pour the powder into the water.
Mm-hmm.
No, you pour the powder into the mug. Then you pour the water into the mug, and you wait for the drink to froth up like a beer, and then it's ready to drink.
I think my taste buds just died. I am sorry to report my taste buds have just put up a gravestone and said, not on your life.
There's this one, which is kind of like an ice cream candy, but it's more like a candy cane. You pour the powder out into a tray. You then pour water over it. You kind of mix it together until it gets gelatinous, and then you scoop it up and eat it.
Okay.
But no, there's so many things here, and they also add and subtract. But there's a little brochure here that shows you everything that's in here. The other day, I had the crispy ramen noodle treat, and it's actual crispy ramen noodles. Wow, that was something nice to try.
I was going to say, but isn't that a bit like salty?
Yeah, a little bit.
I was going to say that's one of those snacks where it's like you better have something liquid beside you, otherwise your tongue will just dry right out.
So I have an idea of one or two things. Maybe I want to try in here, or then I'll go into the other box. But everything is so small and so loose around here, so it's kind of hard to figure out what I want. Let's see here. The one I have in mind is the Pandado cookie. Oh, here we are. Pandado cookie. Apparently I got the angry panda.
Oh, dear.
And this is a panda-shaped butter cookie that comes with various facial expressions.
And you don't know the facial expression until you open it, I assume, right?
Well, I'm wondering if this is mad, then he's going to be mad as well. Oh, no, none at all. Look at that. It's got a bit of a... hold it this way here. Kind of a happy look to it, I guess.
Okay, so mad on the outside, happy on the inside.
Yeah, right?
There's something to that.
And this is a straightforward butter cookie. Very, very good. And cheap. Because, again, this is dagashi.
Well, for 100 yen, yes.
All right, Nef, let's try something a little more expensive on your end.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, hold on one second while I do this without trying to kill myself.
Sure.
Because, yikes. The Tokyo Treat box for December arrived, which of course has the Christmas theme going for it.
Oh!
As I almost get everything, plopped out into my lap. Okay, so as the last one, I'm just trying to move my mic over a bit.
Mm-hmm.
As with the last one, there is a generous selection of stuff and a roadmap to explain everything.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of explaining everything, oh dear. Oh, okay, sorry. Unfortunately, it looks like, oh dear. My box happened to touch the screen, and now I can't see you anymore, Gerald. There we are.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so there we are. So what we'll do is we'll look. Now, I think we'll actually go with the simple thing because it's probably the easiest.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the Kit Kat milk tea.
Ooh.
oh dear, he's either, jealous and or he wants to, come home and raid, as they say.
Eh.
So put the box down again.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Now, as
Now,
you
the good news
open,
is-
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, the good news is the box is, or the bag is now a paper, which is much easier to open.
Mm-hmm.
Because in previous times the Kit Kat bag has been a plastic, which has been like, let's see if we can open it without making a mess. Good luck. Okay, and there we have the little milk tea Kit Kat with a nice. Okay, now this is with white chocolate, and I'm curious to see how it tastes.
Like milk
because-
tea.
Well, presumably. I mean, of course, we were presuming, and of course, we don't know yet until we try.
Mm.
Now, of course, this has been sitting out, so it's not my usual preference for these type of snacks is cold.
Mm.
So we'll see how this works out.
Okay. Munch, munch, munch. How's the flavor?
Very nice. Not overly sweet, which is good,
Mm-hmm.
because I've had some of these candies, and it's like, oh, my dentist is going to be so unhappy with me. Or happy, depending on your point of view.
Mm.
Let's see here. Nice and crispy, as Kit Kat should be. I would definitely give this a yay.
Yay, which is 4 out of 5 on our scale. Because it's woohoo, yay, amen, blech.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to open my SakuraCo box. I've been mentioning, I probably mentioned my issues with Boxu. I've had Boxu for a couple of years, but the last few months, they've just completely botched their shipping. Because it depends. They go through a third-party shipping provider here. So does SakuraCo and Tokyo Treat. They go through OSM. But the problem is, at least for me the last few months, depending on where the box enters the mail stream, it's either a timely arrival or a non-existent arrival. And Boxu has not delivered to me in like the last 2 or 3 months. They've had some... I've reached out to them. They sent me another shipment, which got here on time. But now I'm waiting for the January box, which hasn't shown up, which is supposed to have been comped to me. It goes through Secaucus, New Jersey. And most of the boxes lately that go through Secaucus, New Jersey, never leave Secaucus, New Jersey. On the other hand, this one goes through... I'm not going to show my address on the screen, but this one goes through LAX. The previous one went through ORD, Los Angeles and Chicago O'Hare. Those packages seem to arrive okay.
So you're saying essentially there's a package thief in New Jersey?
Yeah, maybe. That because someone eats it. Yeah, Cam, sure. Oh,
Well, you never know.
mm,
I've seen weirder things. I mean, I'll say this: when I was a younger squirt, we would get packages from overseas.
mm.
Sometimes those packages would arrive opened and resealed. There would be one particular thing or things missing from the package every time that happened. And we always got, and they always included with it a written list of what they included after the first time it happened. So we knew exactly what was missing.
Oh boy.
The problem is try to prove, who actually nicked it.
I'm going to open the SakuraCo box now. I have not opened the SakuraCo box yet. I have no idea what's inside. Holiday traditions. Oh no. Tochigi traditions. Tochigi traditions. Tochigi is a prefecture north of Tokyo. Let's see what we have. Season's greetings, SakuraCo family. Welcome to Tochigi. With breathtaking mountains and astounding waterfalls, this prefecture is blessed with over 600 onsens to keep you warm and innumerable shrines and temples. So that's the theme. Let's see what I want to try here. We have 4 pages of descriptions about confectionaries that make the things. We have... Ooh, something I can't try now. Aged green tea. Aged.
Interesting.
So tea leaves that have been matured. Let's see. Oh, there's a wrapping cloth in here. How nice. Let's see. Oh, let's have some donuts.
Okay, now, as I recall, yes, they do donuts similar to what we normally see over here in North America. But they have a interesting tendency to play with flavors.
Let's see.
That's where the fun starts.
I'm looking for it. So, oh, by the way,
Okay.
here's the furoshiki.
Mm.
So you can use
Very
that
nice.
to like wrap a bento box or a lunch box or that sort of thing.
Mm. And while JR is busy digging,
Let's see here.
I almost want to play certain music from a certain quiz show. Of course, we don't have the rights to that, so we can't. Well,
Don't
let's see
put
what he's got.
don't put yourself in jeopardy, Nef.
Oh, ho, 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 ho.
All right.
What is it? A sick burn, Alex?
Okay, here are the donuts. Oh, what do we have here? Mika! Mika has subscribed. 23 months. Thank you, Mika. Good evening to you. We are doing a Japanese taste test, and we're going to do Anko donuts with red bean paste cooked fresh every morning and dough kneaded from scratch. Delicious bite-sized treats to gain popularity across Japan from word of mouth alone. Motohashi Confectionery Tochigi Anko donuts. I'm gonna make a mess. I better stay back here.
I was afraid. I thought about this. I'm going, shouldn't we maybe have paper towels or something just in case?
And here's the notch, I think, to open it. No.
Oh yes, the mystery notch. Those are always fun.
This doesn't have a notch.
Oh, it's probably there somewhere. It's just kind of hidden.
I can't open this.
Okay, he's having more trouble scoring than the Denver Broncos did on Christmas Day.
Oh, and then they sacked their coach.
No, they found out their coach couldn't hack it, so they hacked him.
I might need a scissor because I don't see the notch. Let me hold it up to the screen. Do I see I don't see a notch here. Unless
Okay,
it's
wait a
this
minute.
thing
Is there-
going
is there
across.
Is there a flap on the back? Is it one of those where it has a flap on the back? Because then you can get it at that point.
There
Easy.
we go.
Yeah,
That's the only way I could do it. I thought there was an easier way to do it, though. I mean, gee.
of course not. Especially when you're doing live radio or live podcast in this case.
So here we go. Here are the Anko donuts.
Very tiny cups of coffee needed for those things. I'll tell you that right now.
By the way, Mika cosplayed our new mascot, Umemi, for the Christmas and holidays. So those photos of them are available on our social media at Extreme Anime Radio on Instagram. You can check it out there. Waiting for more photos from the photographer that we can also share. Atelier Reiko Photography. And Reiko actually won that cosplay award with Mika. So congratulations to both of them. All right. Sometimes a notch on the press seam. Yeah, I tried checking for that. All right. I think I'm just going to throw this in one go. It's so tiny.
I think you can, yes. And he's chewing?
Very, very nice. I will also give this a yay. There's no wow factor to this, but, it kind of reminds me of the bite-sized Dunkin' Donuts or Tim Hortons jelly donuts just filled with red bean paste.
Oh, there you go. Although I cannot remember the last time I had any of those particular little bite-sized things, because generally it's like, no, if I start eating them, I just keep eating, and that's bad. Very bad.
All right. Your turn, sir. What do you got next?
Okay, let me pull up the box again. And yipes! There we go. There we go. Here we are. Okay, so let's see here. I'm looking at all of these things, and let me see if there's anything really small. Whoops. Ooh, here's something quite small. If I can find it. Because literally the blurb speaks to me. Christmas fugashi. This traditional Japanese snack is said to be one of Rudolph's favorite treats. Light, airy, and soaked in a luscious coat of brown sugar, we can see why the red-nosed reindeer loves these so much. Now, let me see if I can actually find this particular thing.
Interesting.
It's rather small looking, so it should be... Oh, here's milk tea for later, perhaps. Let's see here. It's a small little thing, which is going to make it fun to find, maybe. No, it's not there. It's not there. It's not there. It's not here. Oh, there it is. Okay. Now, since I know this thing is coated in brown sugar, it might make a bit of a mess. So I'm going to have to be very delicate in how I open this thing. Okay, the can of milk coffee goes over there. Okay, now, much like you, I have to figure out how to open this silly thing.
All right.
Let's see. Now, this will be fun. Oh, it actually opened the first try.
Oh, gee.
That's a
what whoop-de-doo.
And considering how I have to open most things, it's actually kind of scary. Let's see here. So, all right. So, okay. Now, yipes. The minute I opened it, let's see here.
Oh, boy.
It looks rather odd, and it's flaking all over the place.
Uh-oh.
So this might be a bit messy. Hold on while I check.
As he bites.
Interesting.
You got a weird look in your face.
Because while I taste the brown sugar, it also tastes slightly burnt. So it's very light and airy inside. It's like there's nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can show you. Let's see.
Yeah. Bring it the other way. Here you go.
There we go.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's quite...
He has Tokyo Treat carom.
Yes, it's the December Tokyo Treat box. So most of this is Christmas themed. Now, while I will give it a yay for the taste, I will say for cleanliness, this one is blech. Because it is literally shedding on me.
Oh, no.
As I'm trying to eat this thing.
Wow.
So I'm going to try and shove the last bit in my mouth rather than have, more bits go flying one moment.
Yep. As you do that, I have one more thing picked out. Going down okay?
Going down okay, it's just a big piece.
Don't choke.
The good news is, like I said, it's very light and airy, so there's really nothing to actually choke on.
Right.
Literally melts in your mouth.
All right. So this is going to be the last thing for tonight. And this is kind of be like the dare challenge. Do you see what this says, Nef?
I see it, but I cannot read it.
Wasabi mayonnaise. It also says wasabi mayonnaise on the bottom.
Okay, this is where JR has officially lost his mind, folks.
Wasabi mayonnaise peanuts.
Okay, I am sure he has officially lost his mind trying this live, on air, unscripted, no safety net. Do you at least have a glass of water nearby?
I have a small glass of water, yes.
Okay, good. Because I have this horrible sinking feeling.
Well,
Okay,
I
he
tell
hasn't
you,
turned
this is
green.
oh,
Oh, there we go. I was afraid of that.
oh my,
The
oh
wasabi
my.
punch in the mouth?
I thought it was gentle at first, and now it's hitting me. Oh my goodness.
Sort of like Mike Tyson with a mat on, apparently.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to say or yay, because I think this wasabi has a little bit more of that horseradish type consistency. I think it's a little too hot for me. It's good, but I think it's a little too hot in the spice.
So it's literally, as soon as it hit your taste buds, it was like, burn all the way down.
No, it was a delayed burn, but yeah.
Ooh, I hate that when you're like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah. Let me try one more and time it here.
Okay. I mean, the fact he's trying another, folks, tells me he's braver than I am, because if I get burned once, I don't try it again.
Okay.
Okay.
So I could taste the peanut and a little bit of the wasabi, and then, ooh, maybe about 15 seconds.
15 seconds, folks, and if you're listening to the podcast, all I can tell you is his face nearly collapsed in on itself.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
You tell me I got to shave. Okay, thanks.
Well, no, that's not what I was referring to. It was more like your entire taste buds sort of went, we hate you.
I mean, I do taste the mayonnaise seems to come after the wasabi, I think. So it's kind of like a roller coaster as far as the heat goes, I think.
So the mayonnaise is probably meant to dampen the wasabi, you think?
Maybe, yeah.
But it's not doing its job, is what you're saying.
You're right. At least to me, yeah.
It's doing the reverse. In other words, the mayonnaise is lulling you into a false sense of security, and then the wasabi kicks down the door and says, honey, I'm home.
So,
Yikes.
well, this has been a fun evening of taste testing as we wrap up 2022. I'm sure we have a lot of things to look forward to in 2023. This season of the podcast is technically going to go on for another week or two. And then when I come back from my trip, we'll start a brand new season. We've normally started the seasons in January, but since the schedule is going to be a little weird in January, I think we'll just keep the episode numbers going for another week or two. The next episode will probably be, and the next stream will probably be next week, either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on, how things go with stuff on my end. No, everybody in my family is starting to get sick from Christmas. As somebody mentioned to me, 'tis the season for sickness.
I was going to say everybody passed around extra presents, did they? Germs.
Well, maybe the wasabi mayonnaise peanuts will help me,
Well, it looks like from nothing else, they'll clean out your sinuses real good.
Oh, yeah.
Like a shop vac.
Oh, yeah. Let's go over the closing commentary on your screen, sir.
If you have any questions, concerns, compliments, or complaints about this podcast or any of our Twitch streams, drop us a line at extremeanimeradio@gmail.com or hit us up on our social media channels. How do you do that? Well, you go to linktree.com/anime radio. There you'll find links to our Facebook page, our Twitter account, our Instagram account, our Discord server, and our YouTube channel. As well, archived versions of this podcast can be found at anchor.fm/anime radio, and our YouTube channel also has archived versions of this stream.
All right, and as we wrap up 2022, Nef, is there anything you'd like to say to our viewers and listeners?
Well, first of all, thank you for the support. It's always appreciated. I mean, again, without you, there is no us. As you know, JR's gone through a bit of a spill this year, so your support of him and in his recovery is very much appreciated. And I hope we all are around to see 2023.
And yes, this is a little bit of a spill.
Well, I I could get into gory details because I've had similar, but, I figured I'd let you do that if you want.
Yeah. I've already shown pictures of my injury to people, so hip up.
Well, as I like to say, and now we both share something else in common, our hips are kind of rebuilt.
Yeah. But we're looking forward to 2023. May your acquaintances be forgot, or may your acquaintances be forgotten. That's how it goes, yeah. And what?
No, the actual phrase, the actual song lyric goes, should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind.
For days of auld lang syne.
Exactly.
But no, it's going to be a very interesting new year. I think I mentioned this before, but I'm going to conclude my physical therapy in a couple of weeks before the trip. So they're looking forward to wrapping up with me, and I'm looking forward to trying to continue my exercises while I'm in Japan, which are going to be fun.
Well, if it's anything like my experiences, just remember, just try to imitate at least finding the chair, the stool, or whatever you use, and then just stick to it.
Right. So hopefully I can find things that are kind of high enough for me to grab onto.
In Japan, that might be a little bit of a challenge.
Do you get a coin when you complete the PT? No, I'm going to get my Mario green mushroom. Da-na-na-na-na.
I was going to say you're going to get your Mario coin and get out the door. Oh.
Will you take your cane to Japan? That is not the plan. My plan is not to take the cane to Japan. I thought about it. I don't think... I've been walking around without the cane for the last few weeks now, so...
I'll be honest with you, if you're going to be serious about walking around in Japan a lot, I would buy a folding cane. Put it in your suitcase. Because you don't need to use it. But if you need to find one, for example, you decide to go hiking up a shrine steps, you'll find yourself potentially, especially coming down, wishing you had the cane if they don't have guardrails that you can grab onto.
So, and well, Bree will be with me too, so.
Well, I mean, you do have that advantage, yes, but I always say I'd rather be over-prepared and not need it than not be prepared and go, oh, crap.
Right. But we've still got a few weeks to get everything together for that, if you will. And we will be back in 2023, a Bree Kane. We'll be back in 2023 with the XAR podcast. If you're watching us tonight on December the 29th, we'll be back in maybe about 5 or 10 minutes to do a little bit of Mario Kart to wrap up the year. But if you're watching or listening to the podcast, thank you for watching and listening respectively. Thank you for your support in 2022. We will see you in 2023, and remember...
Keep on looking out for the Extraordinary Podcast, and don't forget to check out our Twitch streams as well. And archived versions of the podcast are available at anchor.fm/anime radio. Good night, everybody.
Good night. See you next time. Happy New Year. All right. Podcast is...